Best Public Representation of Archaeology, Day of Archaeology 2011. The Day of Archaeology is an exciting new concept that harnesses the power of social media to disseminate the wonderful world of archaeology that we all know and love. The first Day of Archaeology was held on 29 July 2011, when archaeologists all over the world were invited to tell everyone about their working day through photographs, videos, and written blog posts. These were published on the Day of Archaeology website as a permanent record of the life of people working in the field, in laboratories, universities, museums, and offices, with community groups, or with education services. This year, the event was repeated on 29 June, and once again, it provides a behind-the-scenes insight into archaeologists' daily lives, the excitement of discovery and the mundane office and field-based tasks, the paperwork, the researching in dusty archives, and all the things you don't see on programs such as Digging for Britain or Bone Kickers. The event was created appropriately enough through a Twitter conversation between a team of young archaeologists dedicated to the practice of digital public archaeology. The idea was publicized via Facebook, Twitter, and word of mouth. Supported by the UCL Department of Digital Humanities, the British Museum's Portable Antiquities Scheme, LP Archaeology, and the Archaeology Data Service, a web-based platform was created to allow participants worldwide to submit information about their working life in archaeology. Over 400 entries were submitted from participating individuals and organizations in 2011. Posts covering maritime archaeology, digging in Knossos, a fantastic video of work on the Pacific island of Nukunonu, on museums, collections, and excavation tales. The organizers hope the project will continue to flourish and become an annual event and show how the archaeological world contributes to everyone's lives.
Best Public Representation of Archaeology, Rome wasn't built in a day. Ask a team of present-day builders to construct a Roman villa, and they will no doubt rise admirably to the challenge. Now insist that they only use construction techniques and materials that were available to the Romans, and what do you get? A lot of wit and banter, a lot of attempts to cheat, but also a real insight into ancient building skills that left our modern builders full of admiration for their Roman counterparts. The Channel 4 programme Rome Wasn't Built in a Day combined archaeology with reality show as Di Morgan-Evans tried to keep the unruly builders on the straight and narrow path of archaeological exactitude. His research into Roman building techniques was law. Not only did Di insist on the labourers chopping down their own trees to make the frame of the villa, no nipping off to the local builder's merchant, he also showed them how to mix their own mortar and create intricate mosaic floors. They were also asked to inspect the liver and entrails of a sheep to see if the gods were happy with their work. Unfortunately for Di, a far stronger authority than the gods intervened from time to time. Despite what it says in the ancient Roman building manual written by Vitruvius, and despite the fact that some of the world's tallest buildings have been constructed in Asia using timber scaffolding, that hound from hell that is the British Health and Safety Executive would not be placated with anything less than galvanised steel scaffolding. Slowly the villa arose on a site alongside the ancient Roman city of Wroxeter, as Di was called in to advise on such questions as the type of carpentry joint that Roman builders would have used, the right ratio of dung to mud in the recipe for daub, and the correct colour for paints that Roman craftsmen would have used. The result was surprisingly stylish and desirable, with underfloor heating, a bathhouse, fine frescoes and mosaics. Today, visitors to Wroxeter can see the results for themselves. The completed building has been handed over to English Heritage, which owns the site, and is now open to the public with regular guided tours. The award judges praised this programme for comprehensively debunking primitivist perceptions of the past, for the use of clear computer graphics that had a strong explanatory rather than a merely decorative function, and for actively and successfully engaging a culturally and economically diverse audience. Best Public Representation of Archaeology, Reservoir Rituals, Totterford, Devon, Time Team Series 18, Episode 1. In autumn 2009, a member of the public reported some granite stones sticking out of a drained reservoir in Dartmoor National Park. The discovery turned out to be a complex of prehistoric stone monuments preserved under a layer of silt. The National Park's archaeologist Jane March then invited the Time team to investigate the Totterford complex with the aim of determining when this site was constructed and what activities were taking place there. Totterford was the first new stone circle to be investigated on Dartmoor for over a century, an appropriately challenging and exciting site to mark the Time team's 200th dig. Especially exciting if you happen to be the sort of person who likes mud. In preparation for the dig, the reservoir had been especially drained. Even so, the team still faced 3 days of wading through thick and sticky reservoir bed as they tried and failed to carry out a magnetic survey. The granite geology further complicated the matter, so the geophysics team turned instead to ground-penetrating radar in the hope that it might show up buried stones and other features. The early results were somewhat disappointing, especially when Matt discovered that the burial cairns were actually the result of 19th century field clearance. Francis Pryor had much more luck in his trial trenches, helping to understand the phasing of the site, while the geophysics team found further buried stones that enabled the form of the ritual site to be plotted, revealing a stone circle and a double and a single stone row. The result of 3 days' work by the Time team was to supply the dating evidence that showed that Totterford began as a Mesolithic site, where hunter-gatherers had camped and made tools. Later, in the Neolithic and Bronze Age, the site had developed for ritual use, seeing the construction of a stone processional way first and then a stone circle. In shortlisting this project, the judges singled out its accessible public education remit and the inclusion of the very latest archaeological research and thinking. The programme, they said, was an excellent example of Time team's skills in investigating a multi-period landscape via the twists and turns of archaeological chance, error and re-evaluation. In short, it clearly and engagingly communicated archaeology as process.